Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Okay, let's get some questions going today. Gosh, you guys sent me some serious questions that I've already looked at some of them, and I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to answer this. You guys act like I know everything. I like that. I like that you think that I know everything. Okay, so here we go. First question comes from Megan. Hi, Shawn. I have an opportunity to invest in a cryo beauty treatment service, which is expected to be very lucrative. So my first thing is, everybody thinks their business is going to be lucrative. Duh. Why else would we go into business? Because it's going to make millions of dollars, of course. Understanding that I will not be remaining in Tahoe, moving to Virginia. I have reservations about starting the business prior to moving. Okay, well, are you investing in the business, or are you getting and putting money in and then going to be a working partner in the business? See, there's a difference between investing in a business and then, becoming partners in the business and working in the business. The treatments are weeks apart, and I can see it as a delay or entrapment to my anticipated move. I've thought about waiting until I move, or alternatively, hiring someone to continue treatments and investing in an additional unit in Virginia. I have concerns about being across the country and having someone else responsible for the business. The unit is very expensive, and perhaps due to inexperience of running a business long distance, part of me also has concerns about possible theft of the product should someone decide to quit, etc. It would be a great opportunity to introduce a new revenue stream, but I have much more to consider. What other suggestions might you add? Thanks for all you do. Well, let's see. I see a lot of concerns in your question, Megan. And, you have had a lot going on in your life. Let's just be real here. Knowing where you've been and what you've been trying to do, if it were me, I would move and then figure out what my next steps in life are. There are always opportunities to invest your money in businesses to create a new life for yourself. If you already have all of these concerns, then those red flags probably mean something. You've been going through a lot in your life, and the last thing I think you'd want to do is, after you've already made the decision to move, is to do something that's going to mess with that decision. Every business can be successful, and there's always lots of different opportunities for businesses out there in the world. I talk about this a lot, that I like to set my goals in motion, and then if it's not moving me towards the direction of achieving my goal, then I just don't do it, because there's always a shiny bright object that's going to enter your life every single day. But at the beginning of the year, when I'm working on my goals, I say, okay, if I accomplish all of these things by the end of the year, then I know that I am on track and I'm happy. If I didn't get to take advantage of the next Microsoft or Apple or whatever, oh well, who cares? I'm happy with what I'm doing and where I am. I would look within. If it were me, I would revisit my goals, my middle term to longer term goals, and say, what are the most important things for my life going forward? And then I would probably do a T line of positives and negatives and determine if it's the right thing for me. But based on what you just wrote, it's an opportunity, and nothing is guaranteed. It could also be an opportunity that you invest in that loses all your money and keeps you there, or you leave and think there's so many risks and variables there that if it were me, I would just, like I said, I'd go back and revisit my goals and make sure that the decisions that I'm making aren't fear of missing out on an opportunity, right? Because there's always another opportunity. I've learned that over the years, that there have been times that I have invested in something because I didn't want to miss out. Sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't, but there's always going to be another opportunity. I hope that makes sense, and I hope that helps you. Gurpreet, Gopi. You go by Gopi or Gurpreet? Leave a comment, Gurpreet, and tell me if you go by Gopi or Gurpreet. My business is providing human resources consulting services to small businesses, which I think is a great business. One of the biggest challenges I face is that a lot of small business owners don't value HR because they really don't understand what HR is and how it is a value added versus cost. I get some clients, but it's been an uphill battle and not sure how to fix this. So, Gurpreet, you just answered your question within your question. If business owners don't value HR and only see it as an expense, then our job in the sales process is to educate business owners on the value of human resources. How can we do that? We can do this with a PowerPoint presentation. We can do this with a questionnaire of the pain points that they have in their life and show them that, or in their business, and show them that with great HR in their business, it can reduce their pain points. It's like an Advil for a headache. Human resources is an Advil for employee headaches, right? It's our job as owners, when we know something benefits a customer, sometimes we have to educate the customer. We do that in our sales process. So it's while we're in the discovery phase, in the presentation phase, in the overcoming of objections phase. Hey, listen, Gurpreet, wouldn't it be nice if everybody just wanted to buy our services when we said, hey, here's what I do. Do you want to buy? That would be great. Unfortunately, that's not the way business works usually. We're not an Apple iPhone, right? So I would hire somebody like Tom Black, who's a mentor in our group. I think I've already said this to you in a comment that I left you. I would revisit your sales processes, and I would do as much as possible to make sure that my sales process takes into account the objections that I'm always getting from my prospects. And I would build a sales process to just already take care of those objections. That's what I would do. I know, Megan, you're afraid of missing out because you're just FOMO. All right, there's going to be other opportunities. That's just my opinion. You asked me, that's my opinion. You could ask all 10 other all mentors in here, and you might get 10 other responses. But knowing where you've been, I think you've already set out a path, and I think based on everything I know about you, you got to get moved, and it's time for you to start building your new life. Okay, Javier has a question. Hello, Shawn. What is your decision process in regards of accepting a new project? I am being invited to construct a parking lot for a big company in Mexico City. I have to finance the construction. It is an investment of $100,000. I can get investors to finance the project. They are offering to pay me $180,000. I can construct the parking lot in 2 months, and when it is finished, they will pay me in 3 months. What terms would be attractive for an investor to participate in an investment of $100,000 for a period of 5 months? Javier, your investors will tell you the answer to that question. Go talk to your investors. Here's the thing, and man, I've gone through this the hard way and the hard way and the hard way. I used to have this mentality, man, if I can present an investor with a guaranteed return on investment in 3 months, 6 months, a year, whatever, you know, gosh, and I'm going to pay them 10 or 15%, what a no-brainer. You would think everybody would want that, right? No, it's not the case. I find this common in real estate as well. which is why I think it's so important. If I was in real estate investing, I would have a pool of investors, not just one, not just two. I'd have as many relationships with investors. And I mean deep-seated, trustworthy relationships, so that when I call investors, it's not a question of whether or not they want to do the deal with me. It's, do they have the open capital to do the deal right now? And if they do, they're going to do the deal with me if it fits the right terms. If you have a pool of investors that you can go to, I would put together the investment package, a legitimate one with a contract, everything, and I would present it to all of them and give them the opportunity. Now, in your country, your job is to kind of know what the investment percentage is for that type of investment right now. All right. So in America right now, if it was a short-term bridge loan, hard money lending type investment, the interest rate might be somewhere in the form of 10 to 14% interest on that $100,000. Okay. That's what it would be. Now, I don't know what it is in your country, but here in the United States, somewhere between 10 and 14% for that time frame would be attractive. Anything above that would be very attractive. But it doesn't mean that an investor is going to give you the money. They really have to trust you, because this is the more guaranteed and the less risk, the better. But what happens if you don't get the project done in 6 months? What happens if the project doesn't get done in a year? What happens if the people never pay the invoice and I've given you the money? Those are all realistic things that you've got to overcome those questions and tell them what's going to happen in a worst case scenario. In a worst case scenario, what's going to happen. But right now, 12 to 14% in the United States is about the right applicable interest rate for an investment like that. I hope that answers your question. All right, Gabs. What's up, Gabs? Gab says, my biggest challenge right now is getting revenue from advertising in our magazine. We have 25,000 monthly readers. We're the leader in our segment. A Facebook page with 60,000 followers and an email list with 16,000 subscribers. Our audience is very responsive, and I'm seeing a lot of success selling and upselling our own products. In spite of this, most advertisers I've spoken to are reluctant to work with us because they don't do print anymore. It's true that magazines in our country have a very low number of ads, usually 0 to 2 per issue, with a few exceptions. In your opinion, is it possible to overcome the general aversion to print advertising, or should we maybe choose a sales model that minimizes risks to the advertiser, e.g. being an affiliate? I'm not sure what that means, the affiliate. Gabs, you know what, man? I honestly have absolutely zero clue about your answer. I have zero clue. I don't know anything about the advertising world at all. If it were me and I was in your predicament, if I'm calling on hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of potential advertisers and they're all saying no, I would take that as a sign that the answer is going to be no. And I would ask them why. And if they all give me the same reasons, and there's nothing that I can say utilizing my salesmanship, which I'm a great salesperson, I know how to build trust, I know how to show what the value is. If they still say no, maybe that product is not something that advertisers are going to advertise in. Listen, it's been proven in time that people create what they think are great products out there in the world that nobody buys. And that's why they end up in the dollar store. And the only time someone buys it is if it is so cheap that somebody will pay. So I talked to a girl on Instagram the other day who was doing a print magazine, and she says, well, but I have the online right now, but I want to do the print. And I said, well, how, you know, if you're doing this print magazine right now, she isn't, but I said, if you're doing this online magazine right now, how many advertisers do you have? And she said, not that many. And I said, well, why don't you just go sell it for $1 an ad, $5 an ad, 50 cents an ad? It's more money than you're getting right now, right? So maybe the price isn't good enough, but if you can't give the advertisement away for free, then you really know that nobody wants to advertise. But maybe it's maybe the price is too high, right? So it's like this old story, and this is a bad story. I probably shouldn't even tell it, but this is just my funny sense of humor today. It's like where a guy goes up and says, "Hey, would you sleep with me for $1 million?" No. Or for $1? No. How about $1 million? And she says, "Yeah." Well, oh, so we're just talking about price now, right? There's a joke around that. I said it really bad, but anyways, I don't know. My mind is just so funny some days. But it's about negotiation. So if you go to, you guys are all like shaking your head right now, I'm sure. If you go to the advertisers and they're willing to spend $100, $50, $10, whatever it might be, it'll at least tell you what the price should be. And then can your business model support that, is my point. Excuse the really bad joke. I hope that makes sense, but I don't know anything about advertising and print magazines, so that's not my expertise. But if it were me, I would get to know the advertisers and ask them, why aren't you willing to advertise? They're going to tell you. If you build up a good enough relationship with your prospects, which is the #1 part of sales, then they'll be honest with you and they'll tell you. So go ask them, right? Okay, Tabor says, and I'm surprised you guys haven't written any funny comments there because I know that was a really bad joke. Oh, maybe you guys have. All right, I'm trying to figure out, is it Gopi or is it Gopri? Okay, it's Gopi. All right, it's Gopi. Okay, so now Tabor has a question. Hey, Shawn, how do you manage to put together your work hours with workouts? I see you're working a lot and still squeeze in a workout or two. Any tips on time management? I work like 12 to 16 hours a day and I feel like I just sleep and work and eat. Well, that's exactly how I feel. I feel like all I do is sleep, work, eat, and work out. That's it. But that's my goals right now. I'm not going to do this forever. I'm not going to work 16 hours a day in my business every single day for the rest of my life. But that's where I'm at in the stage of Ask a Millionaire right now. 5 years ago, from the time from October of 2011 until the spring of 2016, I didn't do any work. I took 5 years off and just enjoyed the sunshine, traveled the world, bought some cars, bought a house, ate the most amazing dinners and wine, and just traveled. I had 5 years off. Well, now it's my working time. It's time to build another company. So I work 16 hours a day. I work out 2 hours a day. And I eat, sleep, and work out and work. And that's it. That's all I do. And every now and then on Friday nights, I go to dinner parties. I had dinner at Tom's the other night. But I have a team, Tabor. I have people that work with me too. I've got Peter that helps in operations. I got Corey that helps with my ClickFunnels. I have Jesse that helps in my copywriting. I've got Armando that's building my Divi websites and Ontraport. I've got Tony who's uploading all my Instagram live streams. I've got David who's a full-time salesperson managing my direct messages. It's not only me. And as my schedule gets busier and busier, and hopefully I start bringing in more cash flow, I start hiring more and more people. But that's the way business is, my friend. All right, Laura says, hey, Shawn, I am a professional photographer and trying to grow a second business to a full potential $1 million+ business. How do you manage time that it takes to grow a second business while still need to continuing to grow and work your other businesses to pay the bills? I know where your focus goes, that will grow. Thank you so much. Well, Laura, I am of the opinion that if you can't make enough money in one business, then you shouldn't start a second one. You should get rid of the first one and focus on the second one. I'm just not a firm believer in having multiple businesses, and I've never known anybody that reaches their full potential in multiple businesses that they're running at the same time. I believe in running one business, going all in and making that business as successful as it can be. I don't like to get distracted. Now, if somebody did want to try to have two businesses, I would recommend that they have a CEO of one of the businesses, somebody who's basically running and operating one of the businesses, and I might be the owner operator in one business, and then I might own the other one, but I'm going to hire a manager or somebody else that's going to run the other one. It is just, it's just been statistically proven that you can't serve two businesses in a full capacity because somebody who is your competition is running their business full-time, and you're competing against somebody who's doing it full-time. And if you're only doing it part-time, there's no way to compete. It's just not possible. All right, next question comes from Alex. Hey, Shawn, lately I've been having trouble with my mindset toward getting stuff done. I am currently an engineering student and run my own business building race cars and doing driver coaching to help pay for my pro driver ambitions. I work out every day and I'm constantly trying to learn more about my own personal development. Overall, I'm doing much more than any other college student I know. I truly do not mean that in a cocky way, just my observation. That being said, I still feel as if I am not getting enough done each and every day. I go to bed at midnight, I wake up at 6 with the exception of meals and working the entire time. I feel as if the amount of things I can accomplish in a day determines the magnitude of my success. The more I can get done, the faster I will reach my goals and then can set new ones. Any advice for squeezing more into a day? I already have a lot on my plate, but I'm already trying to level up. Absolutely. Hire people to help you get things done. So here, let me give you a perfect analogy of this. You can say, I work 18 hours a day working in my business. And I can say, well, I work 3 hours a day and I get done more than you. And you might say, well, how? And I'll say, because I've got 3 employees working 8 hours a day each. That's 24 hours of production getting done in one day, right? 8 times 3 is 24. You're only working 16 hours a day. My team is working 24 hours in one day. Who's going to get more done? Well, Shawn, I don't have any money to hire people. Then go do something that actually makes you more money so that you can do it. That's how you level up. When you are exchanging your time, it doesn't matter how productive you are limited by the amount of time in a day. All right? You will never be as productive as a team. So maybe there's some things in your business or even another business that could be producing more cash flow that you can use to start building a team. I work 16, 18 hours a day myself, and I have a team. All right? So that's part of being a business owner. Now, you'll do that for a certain amount of time, but that's how you level up. Leveling up means building a team. Leveling up means delegation, which is why I stress so much to focus on sales. Somebody needs to be focused on sales and bringing in revenue and balancing sales with operations. You go out and you sell a bunch, and you got to make sure you have the scalability of your operations to support the sales that are being made. All right. And that's how a business grows. Hope that answers your question there, Alex. Congratulations for everything you're doing, man. It's awesome. Okay. Next question comes from Adrian. Adrian, how's it going, girl? Hi, Shawn. Would love to know your thoughts on commission rates for sales representatives, if you believe it should be a one-off payment when, in my case, they secure a store to stock my jewelry. I've heard conflicting opinions about whether or not they should receive commission on all orders over, for example, a 12-month contract which can be renewed based on performance, or just the first order. Your opinion and reasoning is highly appreciated. I'm having my solicitor, that's attorney in other countries, draw this up next week. Okay, so commission plans. So I believe in paying salespeople what they're worth, because salespeople drive your company's revenue. So you want to have a fair deal for your salespeople. So I'll give you an example. I'll just be transparent, because I like to be transparent with you guys here in the tribe so that you know exactly where I'm coming from. So it's $48 a month or $488 a year to join this mentorship group. So I hired David, who is a commission salesperson, and putting together the commission salesperson contract for him, I created I had my CPA create or actually she's an outsourced CFO. I had her create an Excel spreadsheet. And I said, okay, David, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a salary, a salary of $2,000 per month. Okay, and I'm just using numbers here. I'm gonna pay you $1,000 a month. Doesn't matter, whatever the base is. For you to keep your job, you have to sell X amount each month just to keep your job and keep that income coming in. However, if you increase sales, so if you hit your quota, if you reach this level, I'll give you a bonus on this to this. Actually, I did his from the very beginning. I said, if you hit this level, I'll pay you an extra commission on all of this. If you hit this level, I'll increase the commission. And if you hit this level, I'll increase the commission again. Okay? Now, you guys know that joining the mentorship group is a subscription. So people are basically paying every single month. Well, I'm not going to give him instead of saying I'm going to give you an 8% residual or a 10% residual or whatever it might be, I create monthly bonuses based on production, quarterly bonuses, and annual bonuses. And so what I say is, okay, in my business model, I look and I say, what is my attrition rate? What's my renewal rate? And based on those numbers, I can afford and budget XYZ in bonuses to my salesperson, because I know that when they go close an account, that account's going to continue to buy from me, like in your case with the store. And I don't know what that's going to be. So I don't want to lock myself in. And I also don't want to overpay. So I just figure out based on percentages what I think I could pay them. Now, after the first year, I'll have a better understanding of what it's going to look like. And then next year, sometimes bosses, owners of the company, sales managers, we basically redo the commission plan. And I did this many times in my last company. I would do really, really, really nice commission plans, and my sales reps were kicking ass and taking names. And then it was actually hurting the bottom line because I had to hire so many people in operations that I had to modify the commission plan. So I like to set up commission plans for a minimum of 1 year and stick with it. Even if I don't make as much money as I thought I would because I'm paying out so much in commission, it's okay, because I'm building a relationship with my salesperson, and I'm honest with them, and I tell them where I'm coming from, and that's part of building your team camaraderie and trust. Okay, so I hope that helps you out. I would like the version of setting up a quota, knowing what your revenue per location is, and if you can pay a residual, or pay out some sort of bonuses quarterly and annually. Hope that answers your question. Okay, next question comes from, good night. I don't know, this is a lot of questions. You guys have got to start asking all the other mentors as many questions as you're asking me. They're just as smart and talented as I am. All right, so make sure I don't like seeing that you guys will only ask 3 questions to Peter or Taylor or somebody else, but you'll ask me 20 questions. Those guys and those girls that are here in the mentorship group are just as talented as I am. I know you have a relationship with me, but you got to start asking them more questions as well. Okay, all right. Shelly says, hey, Shawn Thomas, have you ever had a trusted employee completely destroy your processes? No. That happened here. I am trying to figure out the right checks and balances so it doesn't happen again. I am putting in the hours to get it to a clean slate so I can hire a new person. Been tied to my computer since July. Just trying to get back on track. If it's taken you since July of last year to just fix a process issue, then you've got a greater problem than you can imagine. Nothing should take 6 months to just fix a process. I'd have to know a lot more about that. But listen, we talk about, first off, you can't do anything from a process perspective to prevent somebody from being a bad egg. Because no matter what process you put in place, if somebody steals from you, intentionally breaks a piece of equipment, does something malicious to your company, that's just something you can't forecast, and it's not something you can prevent. It just doesn't. That's a rare circumstance. But if you have a process that breaks down because your process is broken, that's part of running a business. As you grow a business and you start scaling your business, Setting up processes is even more important than ever. It's our job as managers to train our team on exactly how their job should be done. You know, think of McDonald's. You know, when you go in there, you get the same French fries every single time because the potatoes are the same, the seasonings are the same, the fryer is the same temperature. Everything from A to Z is a process. In our business, as you start to grow, it's very important to set out processes for your team to follow. That way, if a mistake is made, is the process broken, or did the team member not follow the process? If they didn't follow the process, then after a few times, you can give them a verbal warning, and then a written warning, and then write them up a second time, and on a third time, you let them go because you realize they're just incompetent. That's part of human resources. That's part of building a team. It's frustrating as frustrating can be. And Gopi, wouldn't it help for every company to have a proper human resources management process in place for that type of training? Yes, there's how you overcome the pain points and build the value of human resources for your potential prospects. Okay, but Shelly, if it's taken you 6 months, I'm sure you have a reason, but that's a long time to fix a process. If you want to give more clarity on that and do another post, or you want to talk about it, let me know. But it sounds to me like there's a bigger story there. That's a long time to overcome a process issue. All right. Next question comes from Patricia. Patricia says, some backstory to give context. We have people working on different aspects of a software solution that we are working to get a beta release ready in the next 2 months. All pieces are required to create a complete package to take to market in a full release. And different amounts of times and skills will come in and out of play as we go. Absolutely. Before we get too far, we needed to get some ground rules around splitting ownership. I was thinking split evenly, even though my idea originally, I want to share versus pay versus services. You just lost me. You just lost me. Before we get too far, we needed to get some ground rules around splitting ownership. Ownership of what? The project or ownership of the company? I was thinking split evenly, even though my idea originally, I want to share versus pay for services. But one person doing a good portion of the coding at the moment did not take that too well. Basically, he said, I won't agree to split evenly. Okay, you're talking about money. Okay. The story of Henry Ford and the $10,000 invoice immediately came to mind. In all seriousness, wondering if you have any insights from past businesses around determining an adequate shares exchange for sweat equity on a software product. Ooh, man. That's interesting. That's an interesting one there. I'd have to really think about that, Patricia. I mean, I think it's just basically the same as anything that you're just going to, it's part of negotiation and negotiation. I certainly understand why somebody who may earn $100 an hour would not feel comfortable that somebody doing a 20-hour type job would be getting the exact same amount of money. I can understand that. So, you know, you're a smart lady. I think if you sat down and you said, hey, you know, this person, if I was going, I would think of it this way. If I was going to hire each and every person to do their part of this process, what would it cost me in the open market? What would it cost me? So let's just say that it would cost me, adding it all up, $100,000. But I know that this person over here, he or she would have cost me 20,000. Another person would have cost me 40. Another person would have cost me 5. Another person would have cost me 10. That probably sounds more applicable of a share as opposed to equal. That's just the way that I would probably look at it, just, you know, spitting off the cuff here. That I think value goes to what it would cost that somebody to do. not necessarily just the amount of time, because I could pay somebody $10 an hour, according to an hourly wage, to change out light bulbs. But for me to get somebody to wire a house and have electrical certifications and all that stuff, I'm going to pay them more, right? But if I say the project is, I need light bulbs changed out, I need electrical outlets done, I need cable run, I need Wi-Fi, they're not equal jobs, so they're not equal to value as well. That's probably the way that I would look at it. Let me know your thoughts, but that's how I would look at it. All right, K Black. I'm still in the very beginning stages of my business and recently applied for my Dun & Bradstreet number. My question is it necessary to pay to have them help build my business credit? At the moment, I'm able to finance what I need and don't find it necessary to pay for that since I have other pressing matters. My opinion is no. The best way to build up your business credit is to do business with vendors that report to Dun & Bradstreet. If you do business with vendors that don't report to Dun & Bradstreet, then that's not going to build up your Dun & Bradstreet business credit with them. Ultimately, though, in a small business, most banks are going to go off of your financial statements and a personal guarantee when it comes to applying for lines of credit and other credit. Vendors that would report to Dun & Bradstreet, they may pull a rating from them, but they're going to ask you for your financials possibly, and your ability to pay is going to determine what terms you get with them. We never paid a company to increase our business scores. We continually worked with our bank to develop a relationship and shared our financial statements. And we did do business with HP and Dell and Lenovo and big companies that did report to Dun & Bradstreet. And there were times that they were able to extend us a net 30, net 60, net 90 terms on payment if we applied. But I would not pay for the service myself. All right, Joe Nugent. Okay, so I've gone from selling my business and closing it all together to realizing I just need help. I am going to bring on a home inspector. How do I ensure that the commission percentage makes sense for both of us? I assume I have to bring them on as an employee and not a 1099 because I will be managing, directing them. This is scary as shit. Is growth supposed to scare you? Well, if you are coming to our event in April, Tom would teach you exactly how to pay a commission salesperson, but you decided not to come in April. I would hire Tom to consult with you on that. That's what Tom does. Tom is a professional sales expert, coach, and trainer, and he can help you put together a commission sales program. But he's probably also going to tell you to run your numbers so that you know that what you can afford to pay that salesperson. Kind of like the question I answered earlier. And it doesn't have to be a W-2 employee. You can do this as a 1099. Just make sure you follow the rules and guidelines of the 1099. All right, because it's not like, it just depends on the role that they're going to play. It's not really enough information for me to tell you whether it's a 1099 or a W-2 position. With the amount of business you have, it sounds to me like a 1099 position, but I'd have to know more. But you basically run your numbers, Joe. If you know that it costs you charge X, and if you did the work, the profit would be this. You're going to pay somewhere in between to your salesperson. You're going to say, like for me, I'd rather make 30% of something than 100% of nothing, right? Because then that person can go get more jobs and bring in more business. So that's the way that I look at it. Because if I was just going to have a business and it wasn't going to grow, yeah, I'd probably sell it. Or I'd hire someone to just do the work and make a couple $1,000s or whatever amount it is, and just not worry about the business. But if you want that business to grow, I think bringing in somebody as soon as possible would be great for you, especially with all of the stress that you've got going on in your life. It can only help you to start delegating and bringing on somebody. Just make sure you get with Michelle or your attorney or somebody and build out a great contract, a no solicitation clause, a confidentiality agreement clause, a no compete if that is enforceable in your state to make sure those people don't go, hey, Joe's trained me, now I can just go do this business. What do I need Joe for? All right. And make sure the relationship is always with ADT, not the service technician of ADT, right? Always make sure that your customer is doing business with you. Get a uniform for your person. Make sure they wear, you know, the company polo shirt when they're doing. Make sure it's always the company that the customer is doing business with, not the person you hire. And as far as this is scary as shit, is growth supposed to scare you? No, it's supposed to fucking excite you. Seriously? Have you not read my book, The Power of Naivety? If you haven't read it, then I want you to go to thepowerofnaivety.com and buy my kit. The future is supposed to excite you, Joe, not scare you. Duh. Be excited for the future. If you're scared of the future, you're thinking it's going to fail. Why? Why? If you think something's going to fail, guess what's going to happen? It's going to fail. But if you think something's going to succeed, it excites you and you want to see what's going to happen. It's not supposed to scare you. It's supposed to excite you. And there is a certain amount of fear that is still exciting. That's why a lot of people like to gamble. They hate to lose, but man, they love the feeling of that. Am I going to win? That's a good feeling. All right. But no, it should not scare you. It should excite you. The future should excite you, not scare you. All right. All right. A little ass whipping for a minute. Okay. All right. Ruel, what's going on, brother? Hey, Shawn Thomas, my biggest challenge is to start selling more of my products and also advertising my barbershop to get the ideal customers that we want. We need more clients walking in or booking appointments. Please help. Boy, there's a lot of inexperience showing in that post there, Ruel, and I love it. The first thing I would say is every business owner should become a professional salesperson. So if you have not watched all of Tom Black and Kendrick Shope, all of their mentor sessions to get sales tips and so forth, get on that as soon as possible. Listen, I'm not here to coach you on how to become a better salesperson. I'm here to mentor you and tell you to go hire a sales coach and learn how to sell. Go read some sales books. You know how many sales books there are right here? There's about 30 sales books on those shelves. I have read thousands of articles on sales. I have taken hundreds of hours of sales coaching. I have read so many articles on selling and personality types and negotiation and body language. Because if I want to make money in sales or in a business, then I better know how to sell. I am not going to teach you how to sell. You can hire a coach to teach you that. As a mentor, I'm going to tell you from experience, it helped me change my life learning how to sell. It will help you change your life. Now, the next thing is, I am not a marketing coach, but as a mentor, I will tell you that if you don't know how to market your business and advertise your business, and you're already in business, you're late to the game. You should have known before you started your business how you are going to market and sell to your prospective customers. You don't go start your business and then go, oh, cool, I got a business. Wonder how I'm going to get people in here. No, that's not how it works. You have a marketing and sales plan already in place to execute on before you open your doors. That's what you do. So if you're already past that, it is time to get busy, my friend. I would be asking Peter and Taylor and Jerry questions on advertising and marketing. I would be talking to Luke Nessler and Dean LaGrange about Facebook advertising. I would be talking to Lisa and Michelle, MASHL, how they market and advertise their wedding bridal boutique up in Pittsburgh, and networking with other people in here of different strategies they use to reach their local demographic to get customers into their retail business. That's what I would be doing. I would be talking and reading and investing in all of that type of information. All right. And here's the second part of that. I would 100% have a sales process set up so that if somebody walks in my door, I'm going to close them. What questions do I need to ask them? What does my shop need to look like so that they go, oh, I want my hair done here. All right. What kind of pricing should I have? What kind of packages should I have? I would have all that in place 100% so that anybody that walked in my place of business, they weren't walking out until they bought something. All right. All right. Rawidi, how are you, girl? Hey, Shawn, how do I organically grow my Instagram? I started my Facebook business page a couple of months ago, and that's doing pretty well. In fact, it has passed Instagram follow and engagement numbers. As for IG, I had more follows and engagement when my posts were my own pictures doing random poses. This is my biggest struggle now. I have more people watching and responding to my story than the actual posts. So Shawn, what few things should I do to get more follow and real engagement? This is my biggest challenge, building my IG credibility. So, that's a real tough one. It's a real tough one. I mean, it is so hard these days to grow organically. It is extremely difficult to grow organically unless you already are a big name or a big account. The best way that I know to grow organically is to make sure that you are asking your audience that is viewing your content to share it. In Instagram, say right in the first or second line, tag someone who needs to see this. Share this with somebody who needs to see this. Repost this to your story and share this with anybody you think needs to see this. If you don't ask for people to share, they won't. And if they do, and because it has the virality that they're just like, holy shit, everybody needs to see this. If you don't ask, they're not going to. So the number one mistake I see smaller influencers make is they just don't ask their audience to participate enough. So make sure you're asking. The next thing is I still don't know if the hashtagging thing works, to get people to view your content, because there's so much out there. 3-4 years ago when Instagram was kind of just really getting started, it worked. I just don't know if hashtagging really works, but it never hurts to put a few hashtags that are applicable to your post. The 30 hashtag thing, I've never seen somebody have more success because they do 30 as opposed to 4. It just needs to be purposeful, all right? And then the next is just make sure you talk to your audience. I'll tell you this right now. I'm not doing anything different, even though I am pushing the mentorship group a lot more. I'm not doing anything different except for now David is full-time reaching out proactively to all people that comment, take surveys, send us DMs, and we are quadrupling the number of people that get in the mentorship group because there's somebody working on it full-time. Now, you're not charging for anything, so you probably can't hire somebody, but maybe you can get an intern. Maybe someone in your family, maybe someone who's a close friend. You say, hey, would you like to help me with my business? Would you reach out to everybody who is commenting, and everybody who's viewing, and everybody who's taking my surveys, and tell them to please share it and say, thanks for your engagement. I really appreciate you. Please be sure to share this with anybody that you know that needs to see this type of information. That's the way you grow organically. Hope that answers your question, but that's what I would do. That's what I would do. The other thing that you can do that doesn't cost you any money is find some people that are in your space, but not like competitors. And if they, let's say you have 2,000 followers and they have 2,000 followers and you have equal engagement, you do what's called a shout for shout. You say, hey, listen, why don't I take a post from your account and I'll post it on mine and I'll tell people to go follow you and you do the same for me and we'll leave it up for 24 hours. And that can help you get some of their followers and they get some of your followers, and that's okay. There's enough success out there for everybody, right? That's a very popular thing. I do that on Ask a Millionaire with this account called Boss Babe Inc. And I'll get 1,500 to 2,500 new followers when they shout me, and they will as well, because we have a very similar audience type, and they like both of our accounts. And it doesn't hurt me. People are still going to do business with me if they're going to do business with me. I'm just introducing them to another account that's great, and it fits my brand as well. So try that. All right, Sandra. Sandra says, Shawn Thomas, my biggest challenge right now is a lack of motivation. Gosh, I hate it when somebody just starts a conversation like that. Shawn, I'm just not motivated. All right, just go to sleep. Shawn, my biggest challenge right now is lack of motivation, which I feel is affecting the progress of my business. Well, of course it would. Lack of motivation would absolutely have a negative effect on your business. Business has decreased significantly. Boy, did I wonder if that was coming next. Business has decreased significantly the past couple of months, and that's had me feeling really crappy. Well, I'm sure it would, and worried. Let me read this again because we're going to video this and upload it. Sorry. Shawn Thomas, my biggest challenge right now is a lack of motivation, which I feel is affecting the progress of my business. Business has decreased significantly the past couple of months, and that's had me feeling really crappy and worried. I'm not seeing why it's been getting so slow and what to do to reach out to more consistent customers that would ship more often. Guess my first question is, what advice do you give to stay motivated and not throw in the towel when things get super hard? And second, where can I start to obtain more customers? What's the best marketing strategy in the logistics/freight forwarding business? Okay, I'm going to answer the easiest one first. What is the best marketing strategy in the logistics freight forwarding business? Honestly, I have absolutely zero clue. I have never, ever run a logistics freight forwarding business, so I would have zero clue what is the best marketing strategy. But I'll tell you this, I would have never started a freight logistics company unless I knew how to reach my prospects and get leads. So as soon as possible, I would find out what is the best way to get leads for your company. Is it buying a list? I don't know. I can't even think of any other ways. I would just think, who are my potential customers? Where can I get their phone number? Who is the buying decision maker in that company? If I have their phone number, I can pick up the phone and call them and go down my sales presentation. Am I going to try to sell them over the phone? Or am I using the phone to just get an appointment to then do a face-to-face presentation and an appointment? What's my sales process? I would just say, who are my prospects and how do I get their information? And that's how I would start. I'll tell you what, if you want to do a call with me, Sandra, and we do a video together where we talk about this, I'd be more than happy. Just send me a direct message. But I mean this sincerely. You have to know your business if you're going to be in that business. If you don't know your business and you're not an industry expert, you're going to have a really, really difficult time. I see it time and time again. So we need to make you an industry expert and figure out what your sales and marketing strategy is. All right, boy, there's a lot of sales questions in this live stream today. I'm seeing a lot of people not doing business planning. Sandra, go get into Peter's business planning class. That's what's going to help you know how to set out your plan. 100%. The second thing is, what advice do you give to stay motivated? Well, my question for you sincerely again would be, are you happy with the progress that you're making right now? The answer is going to be no, right? Well, there's your motivation. I don't say that for rhetoric. I mean that sincerely. If you're not happy with what you're doing or where you're at, that should motivate the fuck out of you to not be in that position anymore. Like, people always ask me, Shawn, how did you stay motivated when you were broke? And I'm like, are you kidding me? My motivation was to quit fucking being broke. I was sick of it. It sucked. That was my motivation. This was no time for me to feel sorry for myself. This was no time for me to make bad decisions. I can make bad decisions when I'm a millionaire because I can afford to make bad decisions. I can't afford to make bad decisions when I'm barely getting by. That's the opposite. That's the opposite. So my motivation when things aren't going well is to change it. What do I have to do? That lights a fire under my ass and says, get my ass working and making better decisions so that I could change the results. So that's my motivation. I look in the mirror. Shawn, do you have everything you want in life? No. There's your motivation. All right? That's the motivation, is to change my life for the better. It doesn't get worse because you get motivated and make better decisions. It gets better. It gets better. That's my motivation. Hope that makes sense to all of you. If you ever get to where you're feeling down, I know 100% that people that get into desperate situations make the worst decisions. And that is the time they should be making the best decisions. I say it in my advertisement, for most won't, I will. When you have millions and millions of dollars in the bank, you can afford to lose a couple $1,000s. It's not that big a deal. But when you only have $1,000, you can't afford to make a $1,000 mistake. You can't afford to make a $500 mistake. You got to make those decisions count. So there's your motivation, to make better decisions and do the things that successful people do. What is the name of this mentorship group? What does it mean? Successful people do what unsuccessful people won't do. We say, what would a successful person do when they wake up in the morning? Let's see, they probably work out, meditate, set out a plan for the day, and stick to it. There you go. There you go. If you're not doing what a successful person is doing, then you're not going to get the results of a successful person. That's the mindset that all of us mentors are trying to teach you, is just do what successful people do. If you don't know how to find leads for your freight business, like, what's the guy's name, the barber earlier today? Well, you shouldn't have opened up the business in the first place. You're already behind the 8 ball. The number one priority right now should be, how does a company like mine get leads? When I get leads, what is my sales process? I hire Tom Black. Tom, I need to establish a sales process for my business so that I make sure I capitalize on every prospect that I speak to. I need a sales process. Can you help me implement that for my company? Those are the things that will make you successful in your business. Implementing the processes to follow so that it's just like clockwork, okay? It's never too late. You know, I'm just, you know, being a little bit dramatic because I want to really hit home with you, but that's what it's all about, okay? Gosh, we've been on here an hour. That's how much I love you guys. Okay, 2 more questions. And Sandra, like I said, if you want to talk on the phone with me, hit me up on DM and I'll talk on the phone with you at no charge, okay? All right, Isaac, here's one for you. While I'm still good and pissed off, laugh out loud, I was sitting at lunch with the boss and the landlord when the subject of my finances turned up out of the blue. One asked me, "What are you doing with all this money you keep making?" When I politely answered my debt situation, they wouldn't let up, like they really wanted to know. I sarcastically offered them a spreadsheet of my situation, which they scoffed at. Then they followed up with the usual, "Well, you ought to do this and that." What I really wanted to say was, it's none of their fucking business as long as it's not affecting them negatively. So I guess my question is, how do you deal with the know-it-all haters? All I know is I'm trying my best, and I absolutely hate it when people act like I'm doing more than I should. Acting like I'm doing more than I should, while they fuck off and put a good 2 hours a day in. Oh, and of course, they always have it worse than you do, yet they're somehow smarter and have it figured out better. Well, Isaac, I would blame you for that conversation. And you may be saying to yourself, what? What? How can I get the blame for that conversation? Because you let it happen. If someone wastes 10 minutes of your time, 8 minutes is your fault. So when they ask the question about your finances, you could have just said, you know, guys, I don't feel comfortable talking about my financial situation. Can we just have our drinks and or our coffee or our lunch and just kind of talk about work or talk about something else? I really don't, it's just a personal situation to me. I'm not comfortable talking about it. First off, a boss should never fucking talk to you about your personal financial situation like that unless there's some really interesting circumstance. Landlord, I'm not sure what that means, but talking about your financial situation and your money is something very intimate and very vulnerable and personal. I would choose to not answer those questions or even talk about it. That's the first thing. So I would put the blame on you for allowing yourself to even get into that conversation. The second thing is how do you deal with the know-it-all haters? Well, once again, you're putting yourself in that situation. If you had never talked to them about it and never gotten into that situation, they couldn't have hated on you. And I'll tell you this, I don't know that situation, but with people that want to offer up advice and give you advice, even though it's unsolicited, a lot of times it's not them being haters. They're doing it out of a sense of caring for you, when in reality, you didn't really ask for their advice, but people love to fucking give it. I am the first person, you ask anybody that knows me and interacts with me, when somebody gives me advice and I didn't ask for it, I basically reply and say, thanks, but I didn't ask for your advice. And they get all pissed off at me because I'm the jerk by telling them that I don't need their advice. Well, I didn't need you to give it in the first place. I didn't ask for it. 99% of people suck at communication. And that's why 99% of people aren't happy and succeeding in life. All right. Communication. If once you start to go down that path of learning how to communicate effectively, you'll realize the best way to give somebody advice is to first ask their permission to give it. Hey, Isaac, would you mind if I shared some experiences from my situation on finances? I'm not sure if it'll help you, but would you mind if I shared it with you? That gives you a chance to decide yes or no. I don't care if you say yes, and I don't care if you say no, because I don't have any expectations at that moment other than to ask your permission. Then if you say yes, you're not paying me to tell you what to do. But if I can share my situation with you that I went through, it may or may not help you, but at least there's no defensiveness, there's no confrontation, right? That's the type of communication that we talk about here in the mentorship group. It's sharing from a place of experience instead of telling people what to do. You will see me in here all the time when somebody leaves a comment on somebody else's post and says, well, you need to do this. Well, you need to do this. I'm like, no, they don't need to do anything they don't want to. And it's not your job to tell somebody what they need to do. We are all entrepreneurs. We are all grown-ups here. We want help and we want mentorship, but we don't need someone just to tell us what to do, right? So that's my thoughts, is you put yourself in that situation, you're not happy with the outcome. The next time it happens, what I would do, and when I'm in that situation and somebody asks me a personal question, I just say, that's not something I'm interested in even talking about. What about those Braves last night? Did you see that game? And I deflect, okay? All right, and then the last thing is all I know is I'm trying my best. I absolutely hate it when people act like I'm doing more than I should. Listen, I'll tell you this. If you continue to put in the extra hours and you continue to do the best job, it's going to pay off. Whether it's at your current company or another company or a new company you create, in my opinion, you're doing fantastic. Don't ever worry about someone saying, well, hey, why are you working 10 hours when everybody else is working 8? I don't know. I just like to do it. I like to finish what I started. You guys have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow. Let them be what they're going to be. Let them be what they're going to be. All right. You just keep doing you and being happy for you. All right. You're doing great, my brother. All right. All right. Last question from Ashley Abed. Hey, Shawn, when you think of discount dry cleaning, what are the top 3 concerns you might have dropping your clothes off compared to a full price dry cleaner? Well, Ashley, I absolutely don't think of anything when I drop my stuff off at a dry cleaner. I just drop it off and I just want it to be good when I get it back. If it's not, then I don't go there anymore. It's that simple. It's that simple. That's about as much thought as I give into it. And I actually don't even take my stuff to the dry cleaner. I have my assistant do it and she finds it. So I drop it off. I delegate that off to somebody else. I can't even imagine. I don't know what the difference between a discount dry cleaner and a regular dry cleaner would be. Like, what's the difference? One costs less. If one costs less, well, why does it cost less over than this person over here? If I was a customer, that may come into play, but sometimes when people see discount dry cleaners, they think, well, maybe it's inferior service. Hope that helps. I'm sure it does. But nothing comes to my mind when I think discount dry cleaners. I just want my clothes dry cleaned, pressed nicely, not ruined. I'm sure that everybody gets their stuff dry cleaned. That's what they want. At least I would think that. All right. Hour and 6 minutes. That was awesome. So, I'm going to leave you with this. If there are so many of you that need to get in Peter's business planning class, it's not even funny. If you've never, I left a comment on his live stream. If you have never done a real strategic business planning session, why are you in business? Because you're losing. It's just like I talk about with sales. You're losing money every day because without a good plan, you're winging it. You're winging it. And when you wing it, you lose money. It's that simple. It's a fact. It's just a fact. Okay. If you just have never been through that exercise for your business, I can tell you from talking with hundreds of entrepreneurs and meeting hundreds of entrepreneurs, it's so easy to see when someone doesn't have a plan. The ones that are struggling the most don't have a plan, and they need one. They just need one. If you look at Shark Tank, if you look at The Profit, if you look at Restaurant Startup, it's so easy to see that when the investors talk to the entrepreneur, which ones have a plan and which ones don't. It's that simple. And if you're doing really well, then you need a plan even more because you could really be capitalizing greater on a strategic plan. Get with Peter today and get in that class. You are missing out on what would normally cost $5,000 or more for someone of Peter's caliber, his training, all the resources that he puts in this stuff. Do not let the price of $297 make you think you're not getting something that's going to be worth thousands of dollars to your business. You are crazy if you don't do it. The next thing, I always talk about is if you don't have a clear sales process or marketing plan for your business, again, you are losing money. I'm telling you, you are losing money. I've been there, done it, seen it, saw it, everything. Get with Tom. Get with Kendrick. I don't know if she does one-on-one coaching. I know Tom does. I need to talk to Kendrick and ask her if she does. Get with Tom and set up some sort of sales training with him to get your processes in play, or somebody. I just know Tom is expert. So I love referring people to Tom because I know he's going to take care of them. Okay. All right. I hope everybody got what they want. I'll go through the comments real quick and just see if there's any questions in the comments. Awesome. Megan, hey. Gopi, glad I know that now. Megan, I'm not afraid of missing out because I can start the business in Virginia. Awesome, Megan, I love that. Can I call you Gopi, or do I have to call you Gapri? You say, my friends and family call me Gopi. Can I call you Gopi? Jared, awesome, man. Let's see, what's up, Christine Coda? I haven't talked to you in a long time. It's nice to see you participating in here. It'd be nice if you did a Flex Friday every now and then. Awesome. Harjap, hi Shawn. I am a small business making natural vegan bath and body products. Just now I got interest from a massage therapist who wants to use my oil for massage and keep my products in her studio. Can you help me what kind of commission deal I should negotiate with her? No, I can't give that to you, but I think I already answered that question. If you go back and watch this replay, I would give you the same answer I would give the 2 other people when it comes to coming up with your commission structure. You've got to work within your numbers. I don't know your numbers, so I can't tell you what to do, but I know I gave enough information today that should give you the information you need to at least get started in the process, okay? Gopi, that's what I did. Got rid of my first business, travel planning, and now I focus on HR. Awesome, awesome. Awesome, Laura. Hope you're having a good vacation, Laura. Question to sales rep. Do you hire sales reps solely on 100% commission or salary plus commission? Listen, every salesperson knows that they're 100% on commission. Now you may structure their compensation plan with a draw and commission, a salary plus commission, salary plus bonuses, but every salesperson is on commission regardless of whether or not of how you pay them. Because if they don't produce, they won't have a job. So you have to work within your numbers to know how much. It depends on your sales cycle. It depends on your profitability. So all that comes into play when creating your commission plan for your sales rep. Awesome. What's up, Joshua? What's up, Tia? Joshua, Tia, I hope you guys are going to do a Flex Friday today. You too, Emily. All right, guys. Hope you guys have a great day, night, or morning, wherever you are in the world. And I will see you later. Peace out. Most won't, I will. Do you have one of these hats? Do you have a hat? Are you repping out there in the world? Bye.